Chapter 71 I'd rather ride a bicycle than a Mercedes-Benz. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Seeing the other guys were speechless, Yan Xing smirked and said to Chu Xin, "Let's bounce. I'll take you home." "Okay." Chu Xin nodded, grabbed Yan Xing's sleeve, and followed him. "Walk?" Qin Hongba said. "You're Yan Xing, right? You sure you can handle this? Chu Xin is the guy my boss wants." "You got a death wish." Yan Xing ignored them and pulled Chu Xin towards the football field. Gopailan was furious. "Just some loser. What's he frontin' for? What are you waiting for? Get him." The two guys were about to move when Qin Hongba stopped them. "Too many people around. Not here. This loser is trying to act tough, but he doesn't even have a car. Just follow them. We'll get them later." The two men said, like they had already made up their minds. Yan Xing thought the name-calling was like flies buzzing around. Chu Xin had enough, she said, "Watch your mouths. Ailing might not have much money, but what he has, he earned honestly. One of you is doing shady stuff, and the other is a wannabe who thinks he's better than everyone else. No matter how much money you got, it's dirty. Damn, she's tough." Gopailan sneered, heard the saying, "Laugh at the poor, not the hooker. Poor is poor. What's so great about that? This poor guy can't even buy me lipstick. What right does he have to look down on me? She wanted a car and she left you in the dust. Why are we even talking about pride here? Society is what it is," and Chu Xin was angry. "I like riding Ailing's bike, and I wouldn't be caught dead in that guy's Benz." "Sure, okay." Qin Hongba smirked. "What do you think your future is with streaming? You know how much pull my boss has in esports and streaming. One word from him and your stream is gone. I'm telling you, you better hook up with my boss, or you'll regret ditching him to starve with this loser." Chu Xin knew it could be true. If the stream got canned, it could even affect Yan Xing. That guy was serious. She was afraid that companies wouldn't even hire Yan Xing. For the first time, she hesitated. Yan Xing said, "Who is this boss of yours?" Gopailan said, "My boss is the young director of Feiyang Group, Gao Xiaohao." Gao Xiaohao. Yan Xing understood. This guy was from the next city over, He ran with Tianzhuiyan and those rich kids and had more power than Tianzhuiyan. Because he was involved in entertainment, he was considered a big shot there, but to Yan Xing, he was just an ant. He glanced at the two of them, smirked, and kept walking. Chu Xin was silent. She looked at Yan Xing, worried. This guy might ruin his life for her, and she felt responsible. The stadium was close to Wanya Plaza. Seeing Yan Xing head that way, Qin Hongba smirked. "Only one way out of here." "What? You give up? Stop running." Chapter 72 This is my helicopter. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yan Xing gave them a cold look. "Run. You think you're worth me running from? To me, you're just a couple of dogs. Dogs bark, but people don't bark back." "What did you say?" They were instantly enraged. Qin Hongba barked, "Get him. Beat the crap out of him." The two goons rushed forward. Yan Xing smirked. Before they knew what hit them, the two toughs were out cold on the ground. Unbelievable. Qin Hongba and Gopailan's jaws dropped. These were the young master's personal bodyguards, specially assigned for this trip. And they got taken down in seconds. Chu Xin's mouth formed an O as she stared at Yan Xing in disbelief. Yan Xing just shrugged, like it was no big deal, and pulled Chu Xin toward the helicopter in the distance. Until now, nobody had noticed the private chopper sitting on the empty field. Standing in front of the helicopter, Chu Xin nervously said, "Shaoling, this is someone else's, Before she could finish, Yan Xing pulled a key fob from his pocket and casually pressed the button, *beep, *, the helicopter door popped open. Wow! Chu Xin's eyes went wide. Qin Hongba and Gopailan, who were watching from nearby, were even more stunned, practically dislocating their jaws. Chu Xin stammered, "Shaoling, this this is yours, Yang Ling smiled. Yep. It was a gift. Come on, I'll take you home. Chu Xin was speechless. Someone gave you a helicopter. Are you kidding me? Yang Ling smiled and shook his head. Do I look like I'm kidding? This was too much for the beautiful anchor to process. How could Yang Ling, the poor kid, actually own a helicopter? Qin Hongba and Gopailan were flabbergasted. Their young master considered himself hot stuff, cruising around in fancy cars with beautiful women. But this kid showed up on a date in a helicopter. Was he trying to show them up? The thought of someone who could own a private aircraft like this was unsettling and definitely not someone they should mess with, and the two trembled slightly. Suddenly, Qin Hongba seemed to have an epiphany. He burst out laughing. That's one of the Mohua Group's helicopters, isn't it? You're just a pilot. What are you trying to prove? That the others were stunned. Gopailan caught on and sneered, oh, so you're a chauffeur. For a second there, I thought you were some rich heir. So what if it's a gift? Are you that shameless? Lu Muhan must have lost her mind to give you a helicopter. Yang Ling's expression darkened. He didn't want to waste his time with them, but they just wouldn't quit. Just as he was about to teach them a lesson, Chu Xin tugged on his sleeve and said with a wry smile, Xiaoling, I know you're trying to help. But this is my problem. I don't want to get you fired. I'll go back with them. I don't believe they'll really do anything to me. Yang Ling frowned, but just then, two Mercedes-Benz cars pulled up at the entrance of the stadium. Chapter 73 Mr. Yang is good. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The black Mercedes rolled up, and four guys in suits piled out. Qin Hongbo recognized Yan Xing, head of security at Mohua Group, right away. He scoffed, what's he doing here, showing up in person? Gopailan chimed in with a sneer, probably figured this kid stole the company chopper for a joyride. This is gonna be good. Yan Xing marched up to Yang Ling with a stone-cold face. They were all set to watch Yang Ling get chewed out, but what happened next nearly gave them a stroke. Yan Xing bowed low, real respectful, and said, Mr. Yang, sir. The guys behind him chimed in, hello, Mr. Yang. Silence. Dead silence. Qin Hongba and Gopailan were floored. Yan Xing, the security chief, treating Yang Ling with such deference. Gopailan instinctively stumbled back. No way. This dirtbag can't be the boss of Mohua Group. It's gotta be a mistake. Dirtbag. Yan Xing's face darkened. He stepped forward and smacked Gopailan so hard she saw stars and went sprawling. He snapped, Gopailan, who do you think you are? Just some piece on Gao Xiaohao's arm. You dare insult President Yang? I oughta tear your mouth off. The slap snapped her back to reality. She stared at Yan Xing's furious face, then at Yang Ling's indifferent expression. A chill went down her spine. She dropped to her knees, sobbing. Mr. Yang, I'm so sorry. I swear, I didn't know you were a big shot at Mohua. If I had, I wouldn't have dared to cross you, not in a million years. I messed up big time, please, have mercy. She knew Mohua Group wasn't just some company. The power behind it was terrifying. Even Gao Xiaohao wouldn't mess with them lightly. If Mohua wanted her gone, they could bury her career in a heartbeat. She was terrified, genuinely scared. Yang Ling just gave her a cold look, then glanced at Qin Hongba, silent and impassive. Yan Xing was in his position for a reason. He knew how to read a room. Yang Ling wasn't just anybody. He'd saved the old man, his wife, and the chairman. He was practically family. The chairman's husband. Even if Yang Ling didn't say anything, Yan Xing knew he had to act. He slapped Qin Hongba across the face, yelling, what is this, you clowns trying to pick a fight with Mohua Group? Who gave you the guts to talk to President Yang like that? Qin Hongba just sat there, stunned, staring blankly at Yang Ling. He knew he was cooked. From the moment Yan Xing called Yang Ling President Yang, Chu Xin's jaw had been on the floor. Her brain was fried. Now, she was finally starting to come around. She looked at the two people groveling on the ground. These big shots she used to be so impressed by were suddenly meek as lambs. She was shocked by Yang Ling's real identity, but she was also thrilled. Chapter 74. You have fulfilled Yan Xing's wish to hug her thighs. You are listening at novelfull.audio. She glanced over at Yang Ling. The young guy beside her seemed totally unfazed, like this was no big deal. He's kinda hot. The thought zipped through Chu Xin's mind, making her blush, but she gripped Yang Ling's sleeve even tighter. Ding! You fulfilled Chu Xin's wish to avoid returning to the entertainment company. Wish value +1. Current progress /10. Ding! You've crushed Qin Hongbo and Gopailan's desire to mock you. Attribute point +1. Ding! You've crushed Qin Hongbo and Gopailan's desire to steal Chu Xin. Attribute point +1. Yang Ling's lips quirked into a small smile. He told Yan Xing, Director Yan, those two are just pawn scum. I'd get my hands dirty hitting them. What can I do for you? Yan Xing took a briefcase from his assistant. Mr. Yang, these are some documents about the helicopter. The old man wanted me to bring them to you. Did you peek? Yang Ling chuckled. Don't need to bother, but I should warn you about something. Mr. Yang, go ahead, Yang Ling grinned. I'm not even working for your company yet, so don't call me Mr. Yang. Besides, I'm still thinking about whether I even want a job there. Well. Everyone present was floored. Chu Xin and even Gopailan, sprawled on the ground, were wide-eyed. What does it take to be an exec at Mohua Group? You gotta be the real deal, a total rock star. This was too much. Yan Xing laughed nervously. Whatever you say, kid. Considering your relationship with the old man and the eldest daughter, it doesn't matter if you work here or not. This guy sure changed his tune fast, switching from Mr. Yang to kid in a heartbeat. Chu Xin was stunned, and the two on the ground were losing it. He'd be Mr. Yang if he actually worked there, but he gets bumped up to kid without working. Who is this guy? Yang Ling raised an eyebrow at Yan Xing. This guy called Lu Muhan the eldest daughter instead of chairwoman, so he knew the inside scoop about his connection to the Lu family. Figured he must be a confidant, and he was laying it on thick, brown-nosing like crazy. He took the briefcase, shook his head with a grin, and said, call me whatever you want. He clapped Yan Xing on the shoulder. I'm gonna take off. You guys get back to work. But those two shoulder pats were a big deal. Yan Xing visibly relaxed. It meant Yang Ling got that he was trying to latch onto him. If he could actually ride this guy's coattails, he could go places. Maybe even get a gig as the general manager of a subsidiary. He became even more obsequious. Young master, the old man wants you to come to dinner tonight. Family affair, your folks are invited, too. Don't forget. Okay, I'll be there. Ding. You fulfilled Yan Xing's wish to kiss ass. Wish value +1. Current progress, August 10th. Seriously, Yang Ling grimaced, shot a look at the dazed Gopailan, then grabbed Chu Xin, still in a stupor, and fired up the helicopter. It lifted off slowly, on the ground. Yan Xing wanted to jump for joy, but he reined it in for the sake of appearances. Chapter 75, Vigor, Double the Power. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He remembered something for a second there. Immediately, he looked at the two guys on the ground and the two goons Yang Ling had knocked out, and grinned. Who do you think you are, messing with my young master? Bringing in muscle, huh? Today, Yan Xing's gonna teach you a lesson. Get these losers into my car. Needless to say, Gopailan and his crew were in for a world of hurt. Sitting in the helicopter, Chu Xin, who had been so carefree earlier, now seemed almost timid. Yang Ling chuckled. Didn't you want to ask me something? Chu Xin said softly, I didn't realize how powerful you are. Now, I guess you wouldn't even care about something like this. Yang Ling was taken aback. How would I know if you don't tell me? Chu Xin looked at him curiously. The team leader of the PT club contacted me this morning. He really wants to meet you. But someone like you probably isn't a professional, right? My identity, Yang Ling smiled. I'm about to lose my job. What kind of identity could I have? Tell him I'm free to meet. A smile spread across Chu Xin's face. After nodding enthusiastically, she suddenly asked seriously, Xiaoling, you're so amazing. You really don't have a girlfriend? Yang Ling looked at her, raising an eyebrow. What? You interested? Please, I have guys chasing me all the time. Chu Xin blushed and admitted, but if you wanted to chase me, I might reluctantly think about it. Yang Ling laughed. Okay, I'll think about it. As they talked, the helicopter reached the roof of Tianxin Garden. It was a high-end place, so the roof had a helipad and a private elevator. Chu Xin hopped out, then turned back, her face flushed. She took a few steps towards Yang Ling and quickly kissed him on the cheek. She lowered her head. Thanks for today. Then she turned and bolted to the elevator. Yang Ling was stunned for a moment, touched his cheek, then chuckled and shook his head. Back in the helicopter, he started assigning attribute points. He had 1 free point and, without hesitation, he added 2 points to strength and 1 to constitution. Now his strength and agility were both at 20, while constitution and spirit were both at 16. He was leveling out nicely. With strength at 20, he was already twice as strong as a normal, fit guy. He figured he was about as strong as a serious weightlifter, maybe a little weaker than the world's top bodybuilders. Ding! One of the host's attributes has reached 20 points. Drawing immediate reward. Ding! Congratulations to the host for acquiring the skill, Vigor. Vigor, when activated, strength increases by 100% instantly. Duration, 10 seconds. Cooldown, 24 hours. Yang Ling grinned. Not bad. Strength doubles for 10 seconds. A few punches with 40 points of strength could probably drop a buffalo. Satisfied, he opened the package from Yan Xing. Besides some helicopter documents, there was a business card. Since this Yan Xing was so eager to impress him, taking him on as a subordinate wasn't out of the question. By now, it was completely dark, and flying a helicopter at night wasn't safe, or discreet. He still had some time to kill. After getting off the elevator, he decided to skip the taxi and just walk to the Chu family's villa. Chapter 76. Even your son is quite the hero. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Long Wangshan's villa community was nestled in stunning scenery, surrounded by mountains and rivers, the most exclusive spot in S-City. It had only 18 villas, and even with all the money in the world, you still might not be able to buy one. The people who lived there were the real upper crust. The Lu family, without a doubt, was a major player in S-City, and even throughout the entire Jiangnan region. They owned the first and second villas. Grandfather Lu resided in Villa No. 1, while Villa No. 2 was home to Lu Muhan and her mother. Lu Muhan's villa was decorated with understated elegance, reflecting her personality. The spacious living room was packed. Almost all of the Lu family's relatives and close business partners from S-City were there. It was supposed to be a dinner to welcome Yang Ling, but it was really a family affair. Everyone at the dinner party was dressed to the nines, sipping wine and chatting. The atmosphere was pleasant, but 2 people stood out like sore thumbs. Yang Ling's parents, Yang Jianjun and Wang Yueju, had been picked up by grandfather Lu's driver. As Yang Ling's parents, they were naturally entitled to attend such an event, but they were just ordinary folks, and had never seen anything like it. At first, grandfather Lu kept them company and made small talk, which was fine, but when he was suddenly called away, they froze up. They didn't know whether to sit or stand, and seemed afraid to even grab a piece of fruit from the table. They were dressed in everyday clothes. Even though everyone knew they were Yang Ling's parents, nobody bothered to approach them. You could see the inherent superiority and deep contempt in their eyes. Wang Yueju tugged gently at Yang Jianjun's sleeve and asked, Han, why isn't Xiaoling here yet? Should we just go home? Yang Jianjun rolled his eyes. What do you know? Xiaoling's the guest of honor tonight. Of course he'll be the last to arrive. Let's just keep our heads down and try not to embarrass him. Okay. Wang Yueju sighed quietly, nodded, and fell silent. Just then, a few of the wealthy women nearby seemed to have overheard them. They started laughing. One of the women, in a red dress, strolled over and said with a smirk, "So you two are Yang Ling's parents. Don't you think you're a little underdressed for an occasion like this in your work clothes?" Another woman giggled. "Yuerong, don't be so harsh. They probably couldn't afford a decent outfit even if they saved up all year." The women burst out laughing, drawing everyone's attention. Yang Ling's parents blushed, but they were just average people. They wouldn't dare talk back in a place like this. The woman in red, Zhuang Yuerong, pretended to trip, covering her mouth as she said, "Oops, I forgot you're on a tight budget. Here, how about I give you 50 grand each? Why don't you go buy some suitable clothes and come back?" The other women erupted in laughter again, their contempt practically dripping off them. One of them snickered. "Some hero. What makes your son think he's qualified to be the center of attention?" Someone else chimed in, "Exactly. I hear that Yang Ling is just good at throwing a punch, but he's broke and his grades are terrible. I have no idea what the old man is thinking, entertaining someone like that." Chapter 77 Parents are humiliated. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Remember for a second. Yeah, everybody knows Yuerong's kid, Jiehua, always hogs the spotlight. You two are just embarrassing yourselves. Seriously, even Mu Han treats Jiehua special. Your son. A frog dreaming of a princess. Get real. Zhuang Yuerong swirled her wine, a sneer playing on her lips. Didn't you hear? This isn't a place for your kind. Someone give them each 50,000 yuan and get them out of here. I'll cover it, she announced. Instantly, a woman tossed a bank card onto the floor. Here's 150,000. Consider it a clothing allowance. Now, scram before you humiliate yourselves further. Fury surged through Yang Jianjun, a rush of blood to his head. This was blatant humiliation. He clenched his fists, jaw tight, but he knew he couldn't leave. If he did, Yang Ling would surely blow up at the Lu family, and the Lu family was nothing to mess with. Wang Yueju's face was pale, tears welling in her eyes. The commotion drew a crowd. After hearing what happened, most people didn't sympathize with Yang Jianjun and his wife. Instead, they looked down on them. This was a high society party. In their eyes, these two commoners had no right to be there. Yan Xing was also present, working as staff. Knowing Yang Ling's true power, he kept his distance. Getting involved wouldn't help. He just kept sending Yang Ling updates, piece by piece. Seeing Yang Jianjun and his wife frozen, Zhuang Yuerong sneered. Not enough, she announced loudly. Anyone else got cash? Chip in, and I'll foot the bill. Zhuang Yuerong, the eldest daughter of Mrs. Lu, was close to the Lu family. Given the connection between Lu Muhan and her son Jiehua, they were practically family. Besides, Zhuang Yuerong's husband ran a real estate empire worth billions. Her word carried weight. Hearing this, someone immediately threw a bank card onto the floor, sneering, 10,000 inside. Go blow it. One person led the way, and soon cards rained down, each action dripping with ridicule toward Yang Jianjun and his wife. Zhuang Yuerong watched it all with a contemptuous smile. Enough now. Know your place. Your Yang Ling is a nobody. A frog belongs in the swamp, not with royalty. You can't just grab hold of a princess. Even being near her is like disrespecting royalty, you understand? Her voice rose, sharp and cutting. Get out if you have any shame. Yang Jianjun stood up, eyes bloodshot, and roared, My Ling isn't a nobody. Before he could finish, a deafening crash echoed from the entrance. Boom! The villa's front gate exploded inward, smashing a table and chairs. Everyone gasped, staring at the doorway. A young man stood there in ordinary clothes, his eyes like ice. Yang Ling! A collective gasp swept through the crowd. The villa door, hundreds of pounds, kicked clean off its hinges. What raw power! Chapter 78 Whoever threw the bank card to stand up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. For a moment, everything hung still. Yang Ling's icy gaze swept the room. Seeing his parents with tears in their eyes and the pile of bank cards on the floor, his anger hit the roof. He moved forward deliberately, an icy, deadly aura radiating from him. Everyone felt it and instinctively recoiled. Nobody dared to step in his way, or even meet his eyes. Reaching his parents, Yang Ling glanced coldly at Zhuang Yuerong, then gently pushed his father, Yang Jianjun, back into his chair as he started to rise. "Dad, just sit tight. I got this." Yang Jianjun's eyes were moist. His son had finally arrived at the moment they needed him most. His boy had grown into a man. It was time to let him handle things. Yang Jianjun nodded and settled back down. "Ding. You have fulfilled your parents' wish. Wish value +1. Current progress, August 10th. He gave his parents a small smile, then his face hardened. His icy stare swept the crowd again. "Who threw the bank cards? Step forward." Silence. Under the weight of Yang Ling's presence, not one of these so-called elites dared to speak. Zhuang Yuerong looked around. Yang Ling's sudden appearance had spooked everyone. As the one who started it all, she knew she couldn't back down now. Taking a deep breath, she sneered, "You must be Yang Ling. I told them to throw the cards." "So what?" Crack, the sound of glass breaking echoed through the room. Yang Ling had smashed her wine glass right in her face. A heart-stopping scream pierced the air as red wine and blood splattered. She went down hard, howling in pain. "Yang Ling, how dare you? You hit me. I'll..." Before she could finish, Yang Ling stomped on her arm, and a bone snapped. The woman whimpered and passed out cold. "Ding! You have shattered Zhuang Yuerong's wish to mock your parents. Attribute point +1. Hiss. A collective gasp filled the room. Nobody had expected this young man to be so ruthless. He just went straight for it. Some people were outraged, but remembering that Yang Ling had kicked in the villa door, they kept their mouths shut in the face of such raw power. Yang Ling scanned the room. He said in a flat voice, "Anyone else? Step up." Again, silence. Under the crushing weight of his murderous intent, many people's legs were shaking. Just then, the first guy who threw a card tried to sneak out. "Running?" Yang Ling scoffed, grabbing a bottle of red wine and throwing it. It hit the guy square in the back of the head. He screamed and went down, blood gushing from the wound. "Ding! You have shattered this person's wish to escape. Attribute value +1. Number 2, Yang Ling's voice was getting colder. A few security guards started forward, but Yan Xing held them back. He shook his head, signaling them to stand down. Seeing the silence, Yang Ling smirked. "Weren't you just calling me a toad? Why are you swans afraid to even peep? Let me spell it out for you. Everyone who threw a bank card, everyone who insulted my parents, you all get one chance. Kneel down and apologize. Or nobody walks out of this room." Chapter 79. Who else? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Those words were like a death sentence, and the room went silent. Everyone's heart skipped a beat. Yang Ling's actions were over the top, bordering on insane, but no one dared breathe a word against him. Wang Yueju murmured, "Xiaoling, let it go. We don't need anything from them." Yang Ling gave his mom a small shake of his head. "Mom, we don't look for trouble, but we sure as hell don't back down from it either. Whatever they did to you, they're gonna pay for it double." Wang Yueju, being the woman she was, just nodded, falling silent. Yang Ling scanned the crowd, his voice like ice. "Since you people haven't learned your lesson, don't blame me for teaching it to you." He stepped forward and landed a vicious slap across the face of one of the women who'd been taunting them. She screamed, hit the floor hard, and was out cold. A few teeth were knocked loose, half her face was swelling fast, and she was clearly in bad shape. Yang Ling smirked. "I'm no Mr. Nice Guy. Don't come crying when I get rough. You wanna step on me? Man or woman, you'll pay the price. Who else threw those credit cards? Step up right now." His voice cut through the air like a knife, and a couple of the more timid folks actually crumpled to the floor, one even wetting themselves. Everyone was terrified. Seeing no one come forward, Yang Ling's cold eyes zeroed in on another woman across the room. Her face turned white as a sheet as she thought about what had just happened to Zhuang Yuerong. She started to tremble. Yang Ling took a few steps closer, a cruel smile playing on his lips. "You want to apologize on your knees, or do you want to go under the knife?" I'll kneel. I'll kneel." That her legs gave way, and she dropped to her knees in front of Yang Ling. "Not to me. To my parents." He barked. The woman, a mess of humiliation and terror, promptly passed out on the floor. "Humph!" Yang Ling snorted, his eyes sweeping across the room. Everyone he looked at flinched and trembled. Finally, his gaze settled on a fat man. The fat man's face drained of all color. Yang Ling, beyond furious, didn't waste any words. He grabbed the 200-plus-pound man and heaved him in front of his parents. "Get down on your knees and beg for forgiveness," he roared. The fat man, paralyzed with fear, couldn't even stand up straight. That only made Yang Ling angrier. He kicked the guy square in the head. The man screamed once before losing consciousness. The room was silent. For the first time, they felt truly helpless. What good was money against that kind of power? They were completely at his mercy. If Yang Ling could kick down the gates of the Lu family villa, what chance did their own home stand against him? This young man held a grudge, and they knew that if they didn't settle things here and now, they'd never have a moment's peace. Everyone in that room was sharp enough to realize that Mr. Lu must know what was going on, and the fact that he hadn't intervened yet spoke volumes. He was clearly waiting for Yang Ling to burn off his anger before showing his face. In other words, the old man was siding with Yang Ling over his own relatives. With that realization, everyone's eyes fell on Zhuang Yuerong, still unconscious on the floor. If those women hadn't gone after Yang Ling's parents over some small-town nobody, none of this would have happened. Chapter 80 Changes Brought About by Strength. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hold on a sec. A guy in a suit, looking like he was in charge, stepped forward, gave Yang Ling a slight bow, and said, "Young Master Yang, we messed up, and I'm sorry." Seeing Yang Ling's blank expression, he gave a wry smile, then bowed to Yang Ling's parents. "Mr. and Mrs. Yang, please accept my apologies. My brother, Feng Yu, will pay for what he did. I'll arrange a dinner to express our regrets." Yang Ling's parents were pretty much appeased at this point. They were simple, honest people and had been totally overwhelmed by the situation. They just looked at Yang Ling, waiting for him to make the call. "Humph." Yang Ling grunted. He didn't say anything, but he accepted the apology. He knew there was a line, and you couldn't go too far. He'd come down hard on these guys for two main reasons. First, he wanted to stand up for his parents. Second, he wanted to make it crystal clear that he, Yang Ling, wasn't some pushover getting walked all over. And it worked. Someone had taken the lead in apologizing, and now the Lu family's relatives and friends were lining up to apologize to his parents, acting completely different than before. There were apologies, attempts to curry favor, and outright begging. His parents, who'd been treated with scorn and ridicule just minutes ago, were now the center of attention, surrounded by people trying to please them. Yang Jianjun was beaming, his emotions in overdrive. He was incredibly proud at that moment, proud to have such an amazing son. Yang Ling was reminded once again of the power of strength. With strength, people would fear and respect you. If Yang Ling hadn't had any power, he would have been the one getting stomped on today. From now on, he wouldn't even think about holding his head up in the Lu family. Ding! You fulfilled your parents' wish to gain dignity. Wish value +1. Current progress, September 10th. Ding! You crushed everyone's desire to step on you. Attribute point +1. Yang Ling's face flickered for a moment, then returned to its calm, indifferent state. Everyone breathed a collective sigh of relief, sensing the invisible pressure from Yang Ling finally lift. Yan Xing was the happiest guy there. He grinned at the security guard next to him. "I told you, you gotta back the right horse. I knew my big brother was the one." With young Master Yang so strong, how can we not make something of ourselves following him? Go on, get that unconscious loser to the hospital. He looked like a loyal pup. The security guards exchanged glances, already daydreaming about the days ahead, lording it over people with Yang Ling backing them up. Yang Ling saw it all. He walked over to Yan Xing, clapped him on the shoulder, and said, "Good job. You did well." Yang Ling's charm stat was kicking in. It might not work on a goddess like Lu Muhan, but Yan Xing was a different story. Yan Xing was practically vibrating with excitement. "Did I do good, Yang Xiao?" "Just doing my job, sir." Yang Ling gave a small smile, and he was about to say something to cement their bond when his eyes flicked toward the entrance. A group of people were walking in, led by Mr. Lu, followed by Lu Muhan in a pure white dress.